Okay, something I've wanted to talk about for a long time now. So Jaden has been working on AI Box forever, and he's given me behind the scenes glimpses of this. And so I feel like every week, Jaden, I'm like, "Hey, all right, are we ready to talk?" You're like, "No, not yet, not yet." But he's finally given me the green light. Here's what I love about AI Box, and there's gonna be more to talk about next month, which Jaden said, "Don't talk about that yet," but which I'm really excited about. But just on this again, you've heard Jaden talk about this before, but the really awesome thing about this is, listen, start with the problem. What we all talk about all the time is like, which model do you use? Like, do you use ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini, or Grok? And even in a talk I was doing yesterday, people were like, what's the best one? And I'm sort of saying, well, you could try this, you could try this. And they're like, well, what do you pay for? I'm like, I pay for all of them. So I pay $20 a month for, I actually literally pay 20 for ChatGPT. I pay whatever it is for Grok. I pay 20 for Gemini. I pay 20 for Claude. I pay 20 for, so it adds up. So the first thing that AI Box has launched, just one of many things, is really, really cool. And it's also getting, like Jaden was showing me the numbers, it's getting phenomenal traction. Okay, you don't want to hear from me. Jaden, this is your baby. We have been talking about this for years. It's here, AI Box. Talk to us about it.
Okay, I am so excited. If you're watching over on Spotify or on YouTube, you'll see the actual, you can see like an actual video screen share of this. But otherwise, for those listening on Apple, which I know is a lot of you, I'll just explain. But pretty much AI Box, we've finally done the launch for the playground. I'm super stoked about it. We have essentially access to the top 20 or 20 to 30 AI models. We're adding new ones all the time. So I think in the next few weeks, we'll probably get up to about 40. But you have access to everything for 20 bucks a month. You can use all of the top AI models, and you can talk to all of them in the same chat. So you can do a bunch of cool things with it. It's essentially a playground to be able to test all of the AI models, use them all, and to stop paying for, 20 different subscriptions to 20 different platforms. I personally was just kind of excited about that. So something cool you can do, we've also built something called AI Box Default, which is our own kind of tech where you can ask it any question. You can ask it to generate an image or anything, and it will just determine what the best AI model is to do that, and it will give you a result. So, I mean, if you tell it to, tell me a joke or something like that, you'll run it through the default. It decided to go with an OpenAI model to do that. The other cool thing that you can do is rerun chat. So if you're like, okay, so for example, I said, tell me a joke, and it said, why did the scarecrow win an award? And then I think it said because he was the best in his field. Haha, very funny. But maybe you're like, that's too corny. Like, I want to rerun this chat. So you can actually go ahead, rerun it, and pick a new model. So I'm going to go with Sonnet 3.7, and it's going to rerun the same question on that one. Now, Sonnet's joke is why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make everything up. Haha, very funny. These are some good corny jokes. Anyways, so you can actually run through and test this on a whole bunch of different platforms. I'll run through and try this on DeepSeek's new V3 model because maybe you haven't tried out DeepSeek V3 yet. And then the cool thing you can do it with between up to, I think, 4 different models. I'm going to run through something on Llama just for kicks. But you can run all of these different models. You get all the different responses, and then you can actually go and compare all of your responses side by side. It'll show you all of the different models, what they've done. And the cool thing, it's fun to do this with text, right? Sometimes I'm trying to create a document or reword something, and I'm like, okay, ChatGPT didn't do a good job. I know Connor's like famous for loving Claude's tone and stuff. So you can actually compare the exact same question side by side with different models and see what the results are. So is Claude's tone really better? Here it is side by side to other models. That's
Jaden,
something I'm pretty stoked
let me
for.
just describe what I'm seeing for folks who aren't seeing this, because it really is radically different, folks. So what Jaden has, it's like, imagine sort of a chatbot window, but over on the left where you have all your your conversations, you'll have all the things there. So you can do that. But what this thing does, which is so cool, is imagine you enter into ChatGPT, like give me a joke or something like that, and then you want to do it in Claude. It's almost like on the chatbot, you know how you have like tabs on a window if you're in Chrome or something like that? It's almost like a tab. So you can then click on the next one, click on the next one. But then what Jaden just did now is he sort of like splayed them all out. So now it's in quadrants on your screen, and you can literally see this, which for me, and again, I know that I'm promoting this because I'd be promoting this anyway because I like Jaden, but this is actually unbelievably useful, because what I do all the time is when I'm trying to figure out like the best way to write something, best way to propose something, something like that, what I literally do is I copy and paste, I go into Claude, check it out. Then I copy and paste, I go into Grok. The ones I go into are Claude, and I obviously ChatGPT, Grok, and I'm just like sort of like flipping between tabs and looking at them. And this to have them all here, I just want to say this because it's a friction thing. Do you know what I mean? Like the way that I do my work, and I'm guessing that a lot of you do, it's like, well, I guess it could be easier in this, but I'm already in ChatGPT. To have them all here, and again, I'd be promoting Jaeden no matter what, right? He's a buddy. We do a lot of stuff together, but this is actually unbelievably helpful. Anyway, sorry, keep going.
Okay, well, I appreciate it. I'm super stoked because, I've always been working on this for a couple years now. So the other thing that is really cool is you have the ability to try out a bunch of new image models. I don't know if you've tried Ideogram before, Connor.
I love Ideogram.
Oh my gosh, I was blown away. I had not been a big user of Ideogram, but I just threw in like, give me a scarecrow by a mountain. And the images it generates, these things look so freaking realistic. I didn't realize the cool thing is they have an API, so you can throw it into software unlike Midjourney. So yeah, we have Ideogram, we have OpenAI's new image model, and then we have all the Black Forest Labs ones. That's the Flux models that you see on Grok and stuff that are pretty cool. So all sorts of cool stuff there. But the thing I wanted to bring up is when you go and generate an image, a problem that I have a lot with ChatGPT, because I love its new image model, I use it for like thumbnails and stuff, is I will generate a thumbnail, for example, and then in 3 weeks, I'll be like, oh man, I really liked the thumbnail that I used. I want to use that same style. Like, what chat was that? And like 3 weeks of chats back could be like 20 things. I'm scrolling through, I'm trying to search, I'm trying to find it. It's impossible. So what we built was something called media storage, which essentially you go over to your media storage and it shows you every piece of media. So images, audio that you've generated, and you can go back and click on things you've generated in the past. It will show you the exact prompt you used to generate it. It'll show you what model you used to generate it. And then you can either download it, delete it if you want, but you can also go and view the exact chat. So it can take you straight back to the chat you were in, and you can see, for example, in this chat, I actually got it to compare the Flux model, generating a picture of a cat, Ideogram, and ChatGPT. So anyways, you can go back to the same place that you were actually generating this from, and this has saved me so much time.
No, okay, wait, hold on, Jaeden, I got to interrupt you. Guys, sorry, I know I'm sounding hyperbolic because this is my guy, but I bet I know where this came from. We didn't talk about this before, Jaeden. Do you remember like early on how you kept begging? I remember you wrote to Sam Altman on Twitter, he right back, and said, can you please create files on, do you remember this? Like files on OpenAI, right? And for anybody that uses ChatGPT a ton, it's a jumble of stuff. And so that's why projects were actually a great thing, right? You can now start to organize it a little bit. And so this has been one of Jaden's pet peeves. But again, I'm watching this, and again, most of you are probably not watching it. But you have to understand, he hit media storage. And this is something that is so unbelievably helpful because I have this, like usually I have to scroll through all my Midjourney, and ChatGPT, if I've done something in an image there, forget about it. I will never find it again because on ChatGPT, they don't even have like a little icon next to the conversation saying, you created an image in here or anything that would be helpful. In this, you go in there and it shows you all the images, which if you are any kind of creator or anything like that, sorry, I know I'm overblowing this, but it's so good. It's so good, man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll take it. But also, again, it's something pretty much like I just took a lot of my pet peeves and the things that were like issues with me. And I'm like, okay, like no one has built this in a year. We're just going to build this because it's annoying. So the one other thing that I want to mention that's pretty cool is you can use 11 Labs in here to generate audio, which is fun. But we've also built in model settings so you can go in and try out like all the different 11 Labs voices. So you can scroll through them. You can listen to samples. And then the cool thing is I talked about the compare feature. So you can get it to generate you something like some audio. And then if you're like, okay, maybe it said like something that I wanted to say in like a particular voice, maybe it didn't sound as good. You can do the same thing where you regenerate that audio with either a different audio model. So you could try something from like OpenAI or voice on 11 Labs. And then you can compare those side by side and listen to, how both of them sound. So for me, that's another tool that's been pretty useful is if I have to generate audio for anything, I can get different models or different voices, have them side by side and compare them right in the chat, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely amazing. Again, the comparison thing is huge because the whole thing about when people ask, well, which one is better? There's just very few things where you're going to be able to compare these things back and forth. The voice thing is really interesting too, because so is the voice built, because a lot of times I'll talk about 11 Labs and people won't really know it. So is that something that's built in, or how do people find that if they're on if they're in the playground? Like,
so if you're in the playground, you essentially just click to start a new chat, and then you have your categories on the side, so text, image, text to speech,
Cool.
and you just find the company. So you find 11 Labs, you click it, and
Yeah,
now
these are
you're
like drop for if you're just like this, if you're on just listening to this, so you're going over to the left, and these are basically drop down menus. So what I'm seeing is like text, image, text to speech, speech to text, and then you just do a drop down menu, and it gives you all that. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep. So yeah, you'll see all your companies. You just hit a drop down and find whatever one you want. The other thing that we added too that is kind of useful is if you go to any model in particular, we have the model's capabilities. Sometimes it's hard to know like what different models can do. Even with ChatGPT, I will tell you yesterday I was using it and I had it write me out. I was doing the voice thing because I was helping it come up with a sales script for my podcast studio. I'm getting a new sales guy to do sales here. And he's like, hey, what's your normal script? So I did like a sample sales call with ChatGPT. But when you do the voice call, it uses a GPT 4.0. And after it was done, I was like, okay, end the call. I'm like, okay, now make a transcript of this so that I can send it to the guy. And it was doing a really bad job on 4.0 of making a transcript. Like it was making a transcript of what it said, not me. And then it was like changing what I said. I'm like, no, just give me a literal exact transcript. Anyways, I was pulling my hair out and I'm like, oh, it's because I'm on GPT 4.0. It's an old version. So I tried to switch to GPT 3.0 or whatever, or 03. And it was just like, oh, sorry, this model's not compatible with voice mode. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not trying to do voice mode. I'm just trying to switch the model to reference like the chats that were in voice mode, but they were all transcribed. Anyways, it wouldn't let me do it. And I was like, this is so annoying. Something like this also solves that problem where, of course, you can just switch to any model you want in the same chat. We're not going to like lock you out. But if you want to know what the models are capable of, we built tabs on all the models to show you like, this one's capable of image vision. This one's capable of text. Great. And then we have the benchmark. So like how much money every model costs or like how much, compute. And then the quality compared to the other similar models. So we kind of have benchmark data if you want to see that. We love it if you test it out and determine what you like best. But we can also give you like actual benchmarks from benchmark scores on this stuff too.
Jaeden, how do people find this? Because it really is unbelievable. I really mean that.
Go to aibox.ai. It's only a 5-letter domain, so it should be pretty easy to remember. No fancy link required, but I'll drop a link in the description. But it's aibox.ai. You can sign up. It's $20 a month. Because all of these things are AI models and we have to pay for API usage, there's no free tier right now. So pretty much if you sign up, it's $20 a month. But this should save you like subscriptions to every other platform on here. So
no question.
You get a lot of credits for that. And yeah, if you have any ideas when you try this too, by the way, where you're like, oh my gosh, I wish, like if you're like me and you have pet peeves with these other AI models and you're like, they just don't have files, they don't have XYZ, let me know. We're actively developing on this. We're adding tons of new features. And in about a month, we're going to drop a massive update that is absolutely insane. So love to have you check out the platform. Let me know if you have any ideas. Appreciate you all as always. And thank you so much for tuning into the podcast.